Hello everybody, welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Joy KahNah, and today I am going to be speaking about some of my paranormal life experiences. Typically my YouTube channel is about true love and relationships, but the reason that I'm making this video is because I actually had a couple of you request that I talk about my paranormal experiences. I think some of you had watched my Saturn Return documentary and known that I had some paranormal experiences, so I'm making this video for all of you. Speaking of subscriber requests, if you have one, visit the link in the description below to submit your video idea request. I don't really talk about these paranormal experiences very often, and for a long time I didn't talk about them at all because I really thought that people might think that I was crazy, or they might think that there was something wrong with me. So I kept a lot of these to myself for a very long time. In regards to these paranormal experiences, I think it's important to know that I am a psychic. Some of these experiences I may have been able to perceive more so because of my own sensitivity to energy and to spiritual beings. I have been reflecting on these experiences ever since they happened, and for most of my life I believed that I was very much haunted by ghosts, and I just thought I grew up in a haunted house and I've just been really unlucky with spirits and things like that. Recently I've been self-reflecting more on these experiences, and I do realize that there are some other explanations for this type of activity. Some of these things may be caused by spirits. Some of these things could be caused by even technologies that were being tested. I am really not sure. So I'm just as mystified as probably a lot of you will be when you hear about these. And finally, I wanted to note that these experiences are 100% true. I know that all of the experiences that I share in this video series might be a little bit difficult to believe. Yes, they've mystified me for most of my life, but I'm not making these up for your entertainment. These are not going to be exaggerated at all. I'm going to tell you exactly as I remember. Every single one of these things terrified me, and I did not invite any of these events to happen. I've never used a Ouija board or anything like that. I think that whatever this is, I think it's just a part of my own lessons in this lifetime. So with all of that said, let us now actually get started here with my paranormal experiences. All throughout my childhood, I lived in a bedroom that was right at the top of a big grand staircase in a big Victorian home where I grew up. So if you walked straight up the stairs and through the landing, you would walk right into my bedroom. And my bedroom was part of a long hallway of other bedrooms and bathrooms. And whenever I was a little girl, I would go to bed. My mom was really a good mom, and she would always read me a story. Shortly after I heard her footsteps go down the stairs every night, I would hear more of a creaking up the stairs. I used to try to be less scared by telling myself, oh no, this is mom, this is dad, or this is our dog. When I was really little, I used to call out in the hallway in hopes that it was one of them. I would just be like, mom, come in here, or whoever's out there, come in and say hi, or mom, dad. Or I would call the dog's name. Our dog's name was Tasha, to see if I would hear any footsteps come more, Tasha, come, come here, come in the room. And yeah, no one ever came. It used to scare me so much, because the feeling that you have when you hear something like that, especially the sound of a creaking footstep on a wooden floor, because we had we had all these beautiful wood floors all throughout our house, crying out and having nobody come, and then realizing that the footsteps were not caused by any human person or any solid person, but that they were caused by something else. So that was a routine experience for me. The footsteps in the hall, every single day. We eventually moved out of that house when I was about 12 years old, but every day from the time that I was born, I would hear these footsteps. Sometimes I would also hear them when I was totally alone in the house, or I was alone on a floor. Our house had 4 floors, so a lot of times, like if I went up to the attic or something like that, I knew for sure that I was the only one up there because the rest of my family was kind of on the first floor watching TV and stuff. So a lot of times I would go to the 4th floor or the attic to get something. We kept a lot of like decorations and toys and storage up there. A lot of times I would be walking up the stairs and looking where I was going, and right behind me I would hear the creaking on the stairs. The creepiest thing about it is that it was always very slow. Like typically when people walk around, this is freaking me out just talking about it, like typically when people walk around the house, like they walk at a regular pace, almost always. And eventually I started to listen, and I knew like the sound of every person who was ever in my house, what their footsteps sound like and stuff. I would listen for that. This was very different. This was like very, very slow, and it almost was like tiptoeing. I was usually really, really freaked out. So I typically wouldn't even look behind me because I didn't even want to see. I would just be like, is it you? Like to see if it was any of my family members, and nobody would ever reply. Sometimes I would hear people like whispering my name in my ear, and I would often feel like someone touching my hair, like people touching my hair, or my hair would move, like I could even see it move sometimes. I eventually got really creeped out about that, so I started wearing my hair up all the time, like in a bun or something, so I would never feel anything touch it. But yeah, so that's my first paranormal experience, long experience. It doesn't happen to me much anymore. I have carpet now, like where I live, so I don't have creaking wood floors. But that was a regular part of my childhood. This mystifies both myself and my older sister to this day. At the time that this happened, we were all in my family, we were all in our big living room. We had just this nice big sort of like grand living room, and we had a couple different couches and chairs and a grand piano and all this stuff in there. And I want to say that it was about 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night. I was probably about 4 years old, and my sister was about 6 or so. And as a little girl, I was a gymnast, and I was so into gymnastics, and I was always wanting to practice. And we actually even had a balance beam in our house. But I noticed that the back of the couch, like this part of the couch here, the back of the couch is really similar to a balance beam. Like it's about 4 feet off the ground, which is the same as balance beam. It is about the same thickness. So anyway, I knew that I probably really shouldn't have done this, but I don't know. I just wanted to practice my balance because I wanted to be the best that I could be. I was just very interested in succeeding as a gymnast. My parents were just kind of talking and standing around in the corner of the room, and I just kind of got up on the couch and I just climbed on the back, and I was like balancing myself like this, and I was just walking on the back of the couch. My sister was sitting on the floor below the couch, like playing a game or something like that. And I don't know, I was just walking, and when I got like halfway across the couch, I was just lifted right up. And basically what I felt was just being just like, it wasn't super violent, but it was definitely the feeling of being like picked up and thrown to the other corner of the room. And I was like thrown in the direction of my sister, like far more than I could have jumped myself, or like could have, even if I tried to jump, this wouldn't have happened. I was like lifted up and landed like 10-15 feet away. I wasn't really sure, because my childhood was so weird. I wasn't really sure like how the laws of physics were really supposed to work, but I knew that something weird had happened. I had a feeling of just like disorientation, and I got like really scared about what had happened. I never saw any being, I never saw like any person or anything like that come up and push me or anything, but I felt that pushing energy. And it was interesting because it kind of happened like a little bit in slow motion, like almost as if you took a little kid and you just like quickly like picked him up and kind of like ran and then set him down. Like that's kind of what it was like. But anyway, I got scared, so I started crying, like, because all of a sudden I was just sitting in the corner of the room, and basically my parents then, like, of course turned and looked over at us, and they immediately grabbed my sister. They started like yelling at her, like, how could you push your sister? We don't push our sisters. Like, this is wrong. What are you doing? Like, what are you girls doing? And then they even put her in timeout and talked to her about pushing and about being nice. And I remember that timeout so much. I remember feeling so bad because they made her like sit underneath of the table. Like, we had this really big table and we would sometimes sit under there like for forts and stuff, but I don't know why, but they put her under there and they're like, you need to sit here for 3 minutes. And I saw her looking so sad and crying because she got yelled at, and I knew that she didn't do it because I could see her the whole time just sitting there. I knew that she didn't push me, and it was so sad to see her getting punished knowing that she didn't do it. And still to this day, she still holds that against my parents a little bit. And we both kind of look back on that memory. Still now. I'm 29, so it's been 25 years. I just can't explain it. My sister was about 12 years old and I was about 9 going on 10. This incident happened right after one of her friends was having their 13th birthday party. She came home from the birthday party and she was very different. She said, she was like, I have magical powers, I'm magical, and I can do whatever I want to you. I was a little bit freaked out by her saying that. She had a big change in personality. I do think that in this case, I do think that she may have used the Ouija board at her friend's 13th birthday party. She had a change in personality and she started to like turn against me a lot, and she even moved like out of our bedroom and she moved into like this tiny bedroom that used to be the servants' quarters in our house. That was the creepiest part of the house. It's really weird. This state of being within her lasted like 3 weeks. A lot of the time I don't have memory of, and she doesn't have memory of any of it because it was so scary. Both of us just like blacked out the memory. But anyway, what I do remember, one incident where we were standing like at the top of our stairs, and if you were looking kind of out over the landing, we had some paintings and stuff. We had like a lot of Victorian or historic paintings that were hung up, and she just kind of looked at me and she was like, I can move things with my mind, I'm gonna show you. And I was kind of like, I don't want to see that, that's really scary, and I really hope that you can't. And yeah, she just looked at this painting, like big painting on the wall. It was not just like, it was hung up with like rope and stuff. Really nice. I don't know, my parents knew a lot about hanging art, I guess, but it was hung up with like ropes that were like hooked into the wall somehow. And yeah, we were pretty far away from it, like 20 feet plus. Like, we couldn't have even touched the painting even if we wanted to, because it was so far off the ground because of the way that the stairs were. Like, the stairs are going up like this and it's like up here. Yeah, it just fell right down the stairs. And yep, so she was moving things with her mind. That alone was pretty freaky, but she was like, kind of seemed like really excited by the fact that she was able to move this thing with her mind. And I don't remember what I said or did or how I reacted exactly, but I know that it didn't please her very much. And the next thing that I knew, I was sliding down the stairs. My intuitive understanding of what took place was that she basically used her mind powers to throw me down the stairs. After that, for the next couple weeks before she came back to normal, I hid from her like all the time. I just hid from her. I tried never to look her in the eye, stuff. It was really weird. And yeah, I don't want to tell too much of her personal information about how that ended, but yeah, like eventually, I'll just say eventually that she went back to normal. my life has been so freaky with this paranormal stuff that I really don't have a lot of memory of a lot of it, and neither does she. But that incident is like etched in my mind forever. When you see something like that, you never forget it. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed part 1, and if you did, then come back soon for part 2.